Updating.
Hi guys, welcome to YouTube, our 45th live session, and it's really easy when you're driving as well as trying to go live. Hopefully everyone can hear me in the audience and hopefully everyone can hear me at home. You may notice something a little bit different tonight. This is kind of like Lee, but it's not Lee. It's that time of year again. If you remember this time last year, I had Ant join me as well as Chris, and we did a bit of a pre-birthday YouTube stream. Or was it actually our birthday? I can't remember.
Probably the birthday, yeah.
Probably around the birthday. Hopefully the audio is working okay for the in-audience people as well as the people at home. If it's not, let us know in the comments, and we'll try and keep up. I'm trying to multitask, which will be fun, but I'll quickly show. I'm Wayne from Brew York, if I haven't told you guys before. I'm the MD and co-owner, and on my left, which is still your left at home, is Ant. And I've just simplified it to marketing because if you put Ant's full job title in, it would take up the whole screen. And apparently I didn't preempt this. So this is Joanna from sales, who's actually in the audience, and I forgot to put Liam's name on as well. So this is Liam. So we've got John, who's our bar operations director, and Liam, who's our ops manager, looks after both the bars. Well, sorry, all the bars, not both the bars. I kind of figured tonight might be a good chance to talk a little bit about our upcoming birthday and maybe a little bit about our bars. But you might have a few questions, so it might be worth having these guys join us for the live stream. So I'm going to go into the comments shortly, but before I go any further, let's do the usual. We've got 4 beers to try tonight, and one of them you need to take out the fridge straight away. So we've got our birthday collaboration, Collaborate. If you can take that out of the fridge, it's going to taste much better, warmer. We've got them warming them between Liam's legs. It's I don't know where he keeps them all, but there's a few under there.
I think he needs to put them back in the fridge.
Cold as ice down there. So get Collaborate out of the fridge. It's going to taste much, much better. If you're wondering where Lee is, he's at the annual Merchant Adventurers do. Amp knows the handshake, but none of us do, so we can't go. And I'll be back in time for the birthday, so you'll see him next week if you're coming down to the birthday party. And if you've got any questions for him, if you're firing them in, we'll try and answer them as well. So remember I'll jump onto the banners again. The cheesy bit. If you enjoy it, like the video,
like, share, and subscribe.
Share and subscribe to us as well, and also send us your questions. So we obviously the session works much better the more interactive you are. So in the audience, make sure you've got loads of questions for us. People at home, you fire them in. I'll get these guys to talk in a bit, and then I'll fire through the questions and see what we've got. See if we've got anything juicy we can answer for you. What beers have we got? Do you want to do some talking, Ant?
I could do some talking, man, yeah. On tonight, we've got our 8th iteration, strange enough, good for our 8th birthday, 8th iteration of Hop Sessions, which is the Eldorado Strata and Simcoe Nipa, right there, big orange one. You'll see the orange coming through on a lot of our birthday stuff, so that's one of those. The next one up is Appreciate, I do believe, which is the Dipper that we did with the brewers. It's got low. It's a bit more of I'd call an old school dipper, very West Coast in style. Next up after that is Participate, the one that we put out to all you guys, frankly, and said, what sour would you like us to do? And you came back and said pineapple and raspberry. And then after that, we went daft and got all the collab guys, all the breweries, the 8 people that we did this with, and said, let's do something stupid. What do we want to do? And we did a Texan barbecue stout, export stout. So no lactose in this. It's not a milk stout. It's an export stout. There is a difference. Big 11%.
I think it's probably the first time ever we've done a birthday series of beer with no lactose in.
Yeah, all sans lactose.
It's pretty accessible. Hopefully you'll enjoy it just as much. But let us know in the feedback and the comments when we're going through the tasting session. So we've kind of kept it relatively simple tonight. The specialist subjects are going to be the birthday, I'm going to give you a bit of a insight into what we've been working on this week in advance of next week's birthday party. And we're going to talk a little bit about bars, because there might have been some news announced this week, and you guys probably have a few questions that you want us to ask on there. So that's the plan of attack. The first beer we've got to try today was what Ant said, which is Hop Sessions 8. So we'll get that cracked, get yourself a beer forward, and we'll start talking a little bit more about that. If you're in the live audience, sounds strange, but come across a little bit. Bring your table with you. You'll hear us better. And I don't know. I think you probably hear better. And if you can't hear in the back of the audience, then we'll shout a little louder. But you don't have to move. But I just think it'll be a little bit closer to the action.
Let's get a circle pit going.
So Hop Sessions 8. I got a tiny bit of reverb then, so I quietened down a touch. Hop Sessions 8 is the 8th iteration of our hop changing hazy. So not long back, probably 5 months ago now, we launched Coney.
Not turn the thing round.
Trying to open the can with the ring pull upside down. Yes,
got half of it there.
A while back we launched Coney, which is our new core 4.5% session IPA, and it's gone down a storm. We won the SEBA Northeast Regional Gold Award for the best hazy. We then went on to the national awards at SEBA back in March, and we won silver in the national awards. So it's gone on really well. Really pleased with it. But it was all born from the Hop Session series, and Hop Sessions itself was developed to try and find what we thought would be the great beer for replacement for Hazer Thunder. I'm obviously not putting the banners up in time, so I'm doing it the old school way. But yeah, we love the beer. We love what's happened, and the Hop Session series has been a great alternative to that. 007 was the last one up. If you remember, we did an English hop theme. 008 is now going back to what we really love, which are the New World hops, so American hops in particular on this one. We've got Eldorado, we've got Strata, and we've got Simcoe in a New England IPA. So I haven't really typed too much about this, because there's only so much we can keep saying about the Hop Sessions beers. You know what the base malt is each time now. You guys can probably tell me what it is, because I keep forgetting. It's also got the House Hazy New England, the House Hazy yeast strain, which we use now. So hopefully you like the base beer, and you'll find different hops that you may or may not like when we do these series.
So going over this again, the base malt of this is exactly the same throughout the entire series. Nothing's going to change at all. So what you're getting out of this is the difference in the actual hop itself between series. So you can actually start getting all the flavours there. So nothing changes with that base malt at all.
No, it's a range that's really, if we did them all side by side, if we had all 8 hop sessions available right now, it'd be a great side by side to see the differences between the different hops. Unfortunately, if we've still got all 8 available, that would be a failure on our sales team's part. So thankfully, we don't have that. What you usually can do is get the last couple of iterations, and you guys at home are subscribers and in the audience, you've probably got some of the cans, so you can probably do this a bit better. Try them side by side, see which hop varieties you like the most, and compare and contrast. So at this point, I'll just bring up a couple of the comments before we go into the questions. I'm going to have to get my old man glasses out, because I can't see bugger all, unfortunately. That's a little bit better. So while I'm scanning through some of the questions, have we got any questions in the audience yet? Don't worry, we are going to talk about bars, but anyone that got any questions in the audience that aren't bar related, that we can get these guys answering while I find some other questions. Joanna at the back.
Bring your mic down a
Do you see the
little.
hop session series going on and on, or do you it's an end?
Do we see the Hop Session series going on and on? Go on, you talk about that.
Well, I suppose there's a finite number of numbers, isn't there? And basically, with three versions of hops, you can always get a very different version going on every time. I mean, as long as everyone keeps buying it, why would you stop? If it works, don't break it. Don't break it. Don't break it. If it's not broke, don't
It's
stop.
not short-lived.
No, it's something that we're definitely going on for the next year or so. I've pretty much done some designs for the next 6, I can tell you. So if they don't use them, then I've done a lot of work for nothing, really. So, yes.
Yeah. Like you did with Cody, with the hop sessions from.
Yeah.
When you promote one of these other hop sessions to a full.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, from the floor here, someone basically said what we did with hop sessions was on 4 we basically promoted it into Coney. Basically, we liked it so much that we actually made it into a signature beer, and it's a stunning beer. If we got another one that we thought was exceptional, would we turn it into a signature? Do you mean as a signature beer or as a permanent, essentially? Yeah. I mean, if it sells well, it tastes great. Who says no? You wouldn't. I mean, the boss man here, if he sees the money coming through the door, then he'd be like, yeah, we're doing that again. But
it's more reacting to what you guys do. The money's obviously something we need to keep the business going, but it's not the priority for what we do. It's making sure that we brew beer that we love and make sure that we can sell it, because unfortunately sometimes we could brew the best beer in the world, but it's not accessible. I think we do that. Unfortunately, I genuinely think we do that a fair bit. So some of the really out there beers we do, the Empress beers in particular, and some others, the barrel aged ones, they are expensive, and they're not. You know, if we go back 5-6 years ago, our duty wasn't as high, the costs of brewing and stuff weren't as high, so we could the beer was a little bit more affordable, and people, well, cost of living wasn't as challenging back then as well. So sometimes we can brew the best beers in the world, but we won't sell them as quickly, which means perhaps we should be looking at other beers that will sell quicker to make sure that you guys want to keep drinking them. So Hop Sessions is great beer, but there's only so much space in our range for brewing certain styles. So Coney has the low ABV slot for us. We have Time Traveling Taxi, which isn't officially a signature beer, but we brew it a lot. So you should usually see that beer quite a lot, which is slightly higher. For me, if we found a Hop Sessions beer that people loved as much as Coney, for me, I'd probably migrate the hops on Time Traveling Taxi across to something like that. So you've still got a distinct reason to buy the different beers. Sometimes you don't want a 5% and a bit beer, you want a 4% and a bit beer because you want to drink more of it. So try and get the balance right, like I'm trying to do with my microphone volume at the moment.
Would there be, I'm just going on from this, if you don't mind, I just had a thought, which is a crazy thought, but would we even think about doing a Imperial Hop Sessions?
Nice.
Or a double Hop Sessions?
Double Hop Sessions. So when we get to maybe Hop Sessions 10, when it gets to double digits, that should be a double IPA.
The dream!
Which is, we should have said that in about 10 minutes time when we led on to the next beer.
That's a good idea.
We'll come on to the bars, and we'll bring these guys into the conversation a little bit, because I know John's keen to chat some beer. Chat some beer. So for anyone just joining us, or anyone who doesn't follow us on social media, they might not realise, but we've just finally exchanged, we haven't completed, on 3 new venues, and we announced that on Monday this week. So it's been in the pipeline for a long time. It's been very difficult to not be able to talk about it, but finally we were able to. And the reason we had to hold off is because there are people involved in this. We're buying existing businesses, so the staff will troop across and transfer to Brew York, which is great for us. We get to bring them onto the Brew York team, and it's been very challenging because there's only so many things we can say because they weren't in the loop. So to make sure that they were in the loop first, and then we could tell our own internal team, and then we can start talking to you guys about it. So it's really good that we can finally do that. And if anyone doesn't know, it's a deal we've done with Market Town Taverns. Market Town Taverns are a pub group. I was going to say chain, they're not a chain, a pub group, predominantly in the north of England. They originated in Yorkshire but have migrated across to the northwest now, who make really good boozers, is the way I can describe it. So if anyone from York used to know Brigantes, that used to be Market Town Taverns venue. And it's the same sort of concept and vibe and feel throughout all their venues. Just a nice old-fashioned pub with good beer and nice food. And what we really liked about that is it's the type of thing that, outside of having tap rooms, that we really want. We really want to build the local community, the local hub, the place you want to go and drink regularly. And then we want to take what they've done and hopefully enhance it and build upon it with our beers. So we've been working hard on our signature range over the last few years. So all of them will feature strongly all of the signature beers we brew, with a smaller amount of seasonal. But it'll predominantly be Brew York beer, and then we'll bring in some street food there as well. The 3 pubs, if you guys want to do some talking, then you're welcome to.
Okay. Well, the 3 pubs, 2 of them will be venturing into something that we haven't done before, which is rooms. So the Horse and Farrier at Otley and the Mitre at Knaresborough both have 4 letting bedrooms each at a very high quality as well. The one at the Mitre in Knaresborough is ideal because it literally is 10 metres away from the train station. So when we get that one in-house, we'll be doing packages for people where they're staying with us for the weekend, but then get them on the train into York, come and do some brewery tours with Brew York, etc. You know, see our other venues and what have you. The one without rooms is Cooper's in Guiseley, which has a fantastic function room upstairs, which is like a village hall. It's got a proper stage, which is high, the curtains, the dressing rooms. That's going to be that they've already got a great base of things like comedy clubs and what have you. Again, we're going to hopefully bring them into our other venues and everything as well. But all 3 will be going street food vendor wise. So we'll mix that up. They'll stay for maybe a week, 2 weeks, like we do here at Handley. But by September, all of them should have their own full-time street vendor, like we have in York and all our other vendors. Other venues. Anything you want to say?
So what we're trying to do, which it's going to be quite quick. So if things had gone to plan, we would have been trading in the venues already. But things inevitably take a lot longer when they get to legals. So once we got through the initial process, the likely completion was going to be next week. There's only a few things on our plate at the moment for next week, but the one in particular that's taking up a lot of our time is our birthday, which we'll talk about later. But it didn't suit to complete next week, and Market Taverns would like a bit of extra time as well. So we're aiming to complete on Monday, Monday after the birthday, and then we are hoping to have 2 of the 3 venues trading again by the weekend. So we haven't got a long turnaround, and we're going to work with the teams in the venues to bring them across to Brew York and learn a lot in a short period of time. But we've got people like Liam on hand to go and spend some time with them and mentor them and teach them the way. They can be your Padwans.
The Padwans, yeah, the force of Brew York. It's looking forward to it. It's exciting. It's going to be a busy few weeks. Yeah, coming off the back of the birthdays, really good timing. But hopefully, we've got some new faces to integrate in. Should have a couple of good teams to start with and a 3rd one. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we've managed to recruit a great general manager who's going to look after all 3. He's from the Leeds area. He's called Ben. I've worked with Ben in the past on managing multi-sites. So, yeah, he's a fabulous asset to our team, and we'll be able to learn a lot from him and so will his teams and what have you. So, yeah, the 3 new pubs are in good hands.
So we've got a question from the audience.
Tuning cheap, but will Gold Badge members be able to get a discount on rooms?
Good question. Will Gold members be able to get a discount on rooms? So one of the things we are 100% doing is making sure that people get discounts across all the venues on the drink anyway. That was a given. So you go to any Brew York venue, you'll get your discount. We haven't really considered it yet, but I don't see why we wouldn't extend it to rooms. Ben and John and Liam have had some really cool ideas about what we can do having the rooms in the portfolio. So being able to pre-book and choose what beers you want in your room, in your mini fridge in your room would be amazing. The brewery tour thing, so being able to pre-book the brewery tour, go stay in one of the venues, get the train across to York and get a discounted brewery tour. Another thing we haven't really mentioned on this yet, but you guys might be aware is we've just done our first perfect draft beer, which is a collaboration with Vocation. Quite cool having a little perfect draft machine in your room. That can be quite interesting. So you can have a beer on tap in your room as well. So there's lots of different things we're excited about that we want to try out. But we're not going to run before we can walk. We just want to get the venues trade in, want to get the rooms back in underway, make sure that we can run them well and keep up the standards that Market Town Taverns have created. And then we'll start bringing all these really cool ideas to fruition and bring them into what we hope will be a really exciting addition to the Brew York portfolio.
We've got shower beers.
Shower beers, yeah. And that's just a can. You basically take the can in with you.
Yeah.
And,
You need a ledge to put it on though, in the shower.
So exciting times, and like every time we've been doing YouTube Live for the last couple of months, he's like, "What have you been up to?" I was like, "Lots. I just can't tell you about it." These are really exciting developments. I've got loads more I've been working on as well, which again I can't talk about. One of them I will be able to talk about by the next YouTube, which is another exciting development in the bars. I haven't told you guys I'm going to talk about that yet, but it'll be official by the time we do the next YouTube, so that's really cool. And then we're working on so much behind the scenes. We don't want to stretch ourselves too thin. We've got delivery plans to roll these out, but we've got ambitious plans over the next few years. We talked about that in the press release, but we said 5 bars in the next few years. I hope we'll do 5 bars this year, and then we'll reassess our targets and ambitions. But we've got to do 5 bars well. I don't want to just rush it, and these guys will be saying, I don't want to rush out and do something half-assed. We want to make sure it's the best Brew York experience you can have outside of the tap room. So that's the plan, and want to make sure that we're delivering upon that before we add extra venues. So does anyone else have any more questions for anyone but me while I have a bit?
I love the tap room. I'm good there every week. But is there any chance of actually getting a local in York?
Good question.
That's the thing that we don't have. We go and we see different faces every single week, and we still go for the beer. But it would be lovely if there was somewhere that you could have the community feeling it somewhere like Hopkinton, actually in York as well.
It's a great question. So, do you have any plans to open a more local style pub in York rather than the larger, busier taproom venues? So Handley's a great example of this, because we have the Handley Tap where we're at now. I didn't mention that at the start for people at home. Sorry, we're at Handley Tap because we're practicing for next week's birthday, and we're going to tweak a few things to make sure we get it right. We're at Handley Tap in Osborwick, which is our production site and our tap room here, and we get a lot of the same people in week in, week out, which is great. And it's exactly the same vibe we used to get in the original Brewery tap room in the city centre when we first opened. And we still do get that, but there's so many other people you don't necessarily see it as much. I do. Every Friday I see you guys in there, as well as lots of other people. But yeah, and then we would love another venue in York. It's high up on our priorities. It's just finding the right venue, the right commercial deal as well, because we've been to see Briganti's, we've been to see lots of other places, and because it's York, people want a huge premium. And unfortunately, some of the places really don't warrant that premium. John's been in the industry for years. He knows what the market rate should be. So hopefully he's got the contacts to find this.
Yeah. These new 3 venues are very local feel, nice, rather than a taproom feel. So I think we've got room for at least another, maybe 2, I think, in the York area. York stroke some of the little villages, but again, more as a local rather than a taproom, most definitely.
So I had an interesting video call earlier this week with somebody who was doing an article on tap rooms, breweries, and looking after the local community, and explained part of the reason we were doing the part of the reason that drove the expansion was the success of our bar in Pocklington. So we've got quite a lot of the audience in tonight. Versus our bar in Leeds, which is in the city centre, which hasn't had the same success. And we think part of it is the local community vibe, the atmosphere of being in that like Cheers atmosphere, a place where everyone knows your name, where you really enjoy going in because you see similar people, you have a nice pint, a chat, and that's the type of thing we really love, and that's what's worked really well at Handley, and that's what's inspired us or driven us to then look at new venues and prioritise suburbs where you can try and replicate the local pub feel. That's really important to us, and that's what we want to do more of. But in York in particular, We want somewhere more cozy, I guess. We've got lots of aspects to the original Brewery tap room, so if you want cozy, you can have it, but we want that cozy feel all the time as well. So it'd be great to have something like that. That's the challenge for us, is finding the right location for it, because we don't want it to be next to the tap room. It needs to be the right area of York. So
The problem with that, I suppose, if you do it really well, it becomes popular, so lots of people turn up, and then it's not that local again because everybody wants to go there, and only 30 people can sit there. Then the locals can't get in because people have turned up, and it's a bit, because York's such a popular tourist town. That could be tricky, I could think.
That's
If
when
you
you
get
open
the right-
another one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true, and take over the world.
Take over.
So just a quick question on audio for the room. How much value are the speakers adding? Could we do without the speakers? And we'll talk louder, because we're trying to balance the speakers.
I think they're having trouble. They're
Yeah.
struggling to hear.
So just bear with me 1 sec. I'm just going to tweak a setting, and then we'll talk louder for the audience, and turn the speakers off to avoid the reverb.
Are you guys having trouble hearing all of us, or Wayne?
Yeah, a few
You're
people have said
probably
that. Yeah, because I'm trying not to talk too loud, because it's then
No,
messing
you're
with
fine.
them.
I think you now tweak the.
Right, so I've turned. Right, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. Sick of it.
Kick him
So
out.
testing 1, 2. I can't remember which colour I am now.
You're blue.
I think you're blue.
No, I might be blue. No, you went orange because you went on the
Testing
non-blue
1. Yeah, I went on to orange. So hopefully that's helped the people at home a bit. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that's helped the people at home, and I'll talk as loud as I can for you guys in the audience.
So
The software that controls it crashed. Hopefully we're back on, but I'll need.
are we there? That sounds like.
Sorry, guys. We will get there. Let's put us on to for the people at home. I'll put a holding image on while I hopefully fix it. And the software that runs the microphones, I accidentally forced it to quit. And while I did that, it doesn't necessarily automatically kick back in for the people at home. So I'm just checking. Yeah, it seems like it hasn't gone back on for them. Oh no, it should be back on now. It's saying the mic seems to work.
Reduce mic background noise.
It doesn't work. It won't work in this. So people, it's working okay now. So sorry about that, guys. Technical hitch while we're 30 minutes into a stream. At least I haven't had to go to the toilet yet, so that's a bonus. Sorry, guys. We are back. We are back in the room. So
can you all hear us out there? No. Can you hear us now out there?
About the same.
About the same.
Yeah.
About the same. It sounds quite quiet, if I must say.
Well, yeah, they said that the background noise is annoying, but
right, that could be it then. Yeah, that's fair. We'll just have to shout a bit louder.
Well, what I can try, I'll just mute your microphones for a second.
Yeah.
Is that any better? I'll just try it with just 2 microphones, and then we'll spread the microphones across. But yeah, obviously when they're streaming back home, there is a slight delay on what comes through on the TV. So it's working, but it's taking a while for it to feed back. But yeah, so I've just had some feedback. It's perfectly listenable, not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
okay. We'll go with
as
that.
good as we can go for. It's not bad.
Yeah. So hopefully,
Oh,
anywho, we're on to the next beer now. So
Next
once we've got
beer.
the next beer,
we want another.
we all want another beer. It'll be hidden under here.
Next beer
There we
time.
go. It's next beer.
Oh, it's the empty one. Or have you just thrown that on the floor?
There we go. So sorry about that, guys. Next beer is Appreciate. So Appreciate was the team vote. So it was the beer that we did with the we put the option out to the wider Brew York team and asked them what type of pale beer they'd like us to brew. It was obviously always going to be a dipper. So we always reluctant about brewing double IPAs because for us as a brewery, they haven't always sold that well. They're always really well reviewed and really enjoyed. But unfortunately, the fact is that like hoppy brown beers, we can't sell them as well as we can some of the other styles. So we're always a bit reluctant to make them. One of the good things is though this beer has sold well because it hasn't even launched yet, and the sales team have already pre-sold out all of the kegs of it. So if you want to try it at the birthday, enjoy it. I don't think you'll see it at very many other places apart from our venues because it's pre-sold out before it's gone out. So it's been a great result for the sales team this time. We're going to have plenty of the cans because we made sure that we've got a lot of them, so they'll be around for at least a month, I would say. So I've only tried this beer in tank. It's an interesting one. So double IPAs. So twice the malt that we use in a normal IPA to get higher sugar, to then convert that sugar to alcohol to make a stronger beer. We've gone with the bitter style of beer that we like, the more traditional American style of West Coast IPA. But what we've used is our house yeast strain. So our house yeast strain is predominantly used for hazies. So that's why the clarity of this beer isn't like your typical West Coast. This is Big Eagle I've got next to it, obviously. And Big Eagle, although it's a maltier beer, you can see it's a lot clearer than the beer I've got here. Similar colour, but the clarity is slightly different. I say you can see that. You probably can't see that because the camera's not quite as close as my eyes are to the beer. But hopefully you see what I mean when you're drinking this at home. It's got a slight haze to it, and that's because we use the house yeast strain, which is designed for hazies. So it's kind of a blend of an East Coast versus a West Coast double IPA. And it wasn't intended that way. The East Coast isn't that influential on the beer. It's more that the yeast is giving it that look. The hops, Citra, which is something we use a lot of. Centennial, which is a really great hop for hoppy, like more of the piney beers that we like. And Laurel, which is a hop we've used for quite a while now. It's one we use in Time Travel Taxi, quite a few of the other signature beers. And like I say, I haven't tried it since it was in tank, so I'm hoping it lives up to my memory of it. Yeah, no, that's the type of beer I like. The bitterness that kicks in is great for me. Unfortunately, the modern drinker prefers it a little less bitter than I do, but hopefully you guys enjoy it.
It's certainly not like what most modern people think would be a dipper, would it? They'd be looking for that super Merc bomb, just absolutely crammed full. Although I think that a lot of those at the moment are coming out really green, I find. So it's nice to have something quite bitter and drinkable at the same time.
So we posed ourselves a bit of a challenge this month for both the subs box. So I didn't mention that either. So really sorry about how slow it took to get the boxes out to this month. It was because we were trying to get the birthday beers into it, which then poses a problem because the birthday beers don't actually launch for another week because they launch at our birthday. So it was catch-22. Do we get the boxes to you with birthday beers in, or do we rush something else out? We decided to wait, and DPD decided to mess us over even more because we were ahead of production schedule. We got the beers canned even earlier than we'd hoped. The beers were all packaged, wrapped on a pallet. And I said to Waters, I was like, have DPD been? And he said, have they? I said, no, they haven't, because I can see the pallets sat there ringing. So he rang them up and they're like, oh yeah, our trunk has broken down. So you're going to come and get the beers? No, we'll come and get them in the morning. So all that work to get them ready to go out to you guys on the Tuesday, and then they didn't come to the Wednesday morning anyway. So sorry for that. It's a bit of a frustration, but hopefully most of you got them in time for today's tasting. I mean, you guys in the audience obviously getting to taste them from these, but hopefully people at home have got them in time. Really frustrating when that happens. And I do see this a lot. See a lot of comments saying, I got the notification and the beers didn't ship. That's a really frustrating thing about the software we use for our order processing. It basically pulls the orders out of our website and puts them onto a screen so the guys can pick them. And if they then print the picking list, it then creates a shipping notification to you guys, which it shouldn't do. And we've changed all the settings to tell it not to do that, to only send that notification once we tell the system we've shipped it. But it doesn't. It seems to tease you all and tell you we've shipped the beer, even though it hasn't shipped. So when we get all the hundreds of orders through for the subscription box, we can't do it all piecemeal. The guys, it's Watters, Andy, does it pretty much all on his own, pre-prints them all and then works his way through them. But by pre-printing them in advance of shipping them, it's sending you guys all an email saying your beers are on the way. And they're not on the way. We can't get the system to fix that. So apologies. We'll find ways to improve it. But we should just get Andy to email you all individually and just say, I'm shipping them today.
And just give him a call on the phone.
Phone call.
Just on his way.
Before he picks them all, manually ring every single one of you and tell you when it's going to arrive.
He'd like that.
So, any comments, any feedback, any questions about the double IPA? How are you enjoying it, John?
I'm actually.
I muted you guys earlier.
Joe in the back.
Lady at the back.
Lady at the back.
Lady.
This is quite a big hitter. Are we likely to see more beers like this going forward?
Question about what was it?
She's saying that it's a big hitter. Are we going to be likely to see more beers like this in the future?
So yes, we've previously held back on this. Like I said, because we've always historically struggled to sell strong pales. I think the team are just getting better and better and better every time they, the longer we do this, the better they get at refining the process of brewing these beers. And with the sales team we've got now, there's no reason why we can't pre-sell, get an understanding for the demand for these beers, and justify releasing more of them. So if you guys enjoy double IPAs, we'll brew more of them and hopefully sell more.
We do a black IPA. That probably won't sell.
What did you say? A black double IPA? A sour black double IPA.
Bit of a comeback.
So to an extent.
Are you struggling to keep up with cask nowadays as opposed to keg?
There's a loaded question. So we're trying to keep up with cask now rather than keg. Really good question. And the simple answer is it's not cask, it's everything in general. The production schedule is just a bit crazy because the volume of beer we brew, the variety of beer we brew, and the sales team are just getting better and better at pre-selling beer. So Liam works with the team to pre-order for the venues. So I'll let him talk a little bit about what he's been doing with Joanna to get on top of that.
So so the task Joe and I have every week is once we have a sense of what's going to be available for the next month, we'll try and forecast going off average sales across the venues, what we need and what we're going to sell. Now, in principle, that's quite easy, isn't it? It's not always as easy as that. Particularly with cask, the problem we've had is, I'm assuming you're referring to Bockington.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dom's really good at selling cask by the sounds of it, because you guys have had a bit of a famine over there, down to just a signature range.
Sorry?
You've been down just as the signature range in Bockington, haven't you? Really low availability. Well, fortunately, we've managed to get that sorted this week, and working with Joe, you should be back at 8 by next week with 10 options by end of April. Yeah, so
You've got to get the message, it's gone before it gets there, that's all.
it is, yeah, and it's good for Wayne that the sales team are good at what they're doing. Like when you're running bars and you're trying to get that side of things organised, it's a nightmare because you put needs beer and we don't have any left because it's all been pre-sold. So we just need to fine tune those margins to make sure.
We're putting in new systems now.
We are, yeah, and it's getting better, but
Yeah,
we want you to have beer to drink as well.
we had this exactly same conversation this morning in our availability meeting. I raised the challenge to the team that right now, Tom Coco and Maris, we're down to about a week and a half's supply of it, of both those beers, and they're not going to be packaged and ready till the first week in May. And the sales team said, well, that's not a problem because we've got loads of specials now, so we can start selling the specials. So there's not a problem for you guys, but I'm about to launch 3 brand new bars where the focus is on signature beer, repeat custom, regulars, locals enjoying the beers they like. So we have to make sure those beers are always available. The specials are the icing on the cake. If we can keep regular special supply, then brilliant. But if I'm telling you that I'm not going to put Landlord on the bar anymore, instead I want you to drink Fennec, then we need to make sure you've got Fennec every week. And these little challenges are really hard because then the sales team's counter challenge to us is how much do you want then? And we don't know because we haven't started trading these bars yet. And what we don't want to do is say, well, we want 5 Firkins per venue per week for the next 6 weeks and not sell that, which means we then can't sell it to other pubs. So it's just a constant juggling act. But it's something we're working on, and we think we're not on top of. The real challenge is the opposite to that in Pocklington, where we've always, Dom and the team have done a great job of always making sure we maintain signature beer, but the specials have sold so quickly that you've only got 4 cask beers then because we've sold all the specials. So whenever that does happen, there are alternatives. We can source guest beers and do that, but I genuinely didn't realise that we got to that position. I don't know if you guys were aware, but yeah, I wasn't aware that we didn't have that because the beer hall in particular, or tap room, we were on a backlog, weren't we? So there were so many specials that we had reserved that we weren't able to get through because they were the demand in the tap room was more for the keg beer. So we'll get better at shuffling them around. And
the backlog was dipped into, but we'll talk about that one off here.
Another question from the audience.
Does that mean that you're going to have to change the mix of the brewing, or are you going to have to expand it all?
Does it mean we have to change the mix of beers we're brewing or expand our brewing capacity? I think there's a few solutions here. So one of the things that is just getting better at logging orders on the system. So making sure we don't just put an order on for a bar for this week. We look at what they need for the next couple of weeks and just be so that we can earmark stock for it. But the other thing is certain beers for the last maybe 3 months haven't really sold very well because it's the start of the year. So we're looking at sales trends that we don't factor them into the production schedule. All of a sudden, those really hopefully those really shitty rainy days are starting to slow now, and it's a different type of drinking atmosphere. You want to drink a different type of beer, more of that. So we'll adapt the brew schedule and the beers we're brewing to match that. And we're also doing a few other little things as well. So we've had some brewery tanks for a year at least for Warmgate site to help as well brewing capacity there, and they've been sat there with missing a couple of pieces. So they've just been sat there unused. We need to get them commissioned into our system, integrated into our system, which means all of a sudden we can brew Maris every week in the city centre if we need to keep all our own venue supplied. And then what we do for the general consumption is a different matter. So
I've got a question about this beer in a way. We had the issue with tax and it all changing, etc., etc. I thought, thinking about what Joe was saying in the fact that would we be brewing more of this stuff, has the change in the tax where it's been at a certain percentage and it's gone through the roof, has that seen any detriment on the brewing scene on our side of things? Are we not going to be doing as much dippers and stupid stuff because it frankly does it sell as well and you get your money back, if you know what I'm saying, on that sort of thing?
It's a bit of a fun. We don't want to change or reduce the style of beers that you guys want to buy because of tax, but we have to react to it because unfortunately the tax is impacting the price of the beer, which means that the cans will sell initially, so everyone will buy a can each, whereas previously they might have bought 2 cans each. So we end up sat on a backlog of these imperial stouts mainly, and it then makes us reluctant to brew another imperial. Well, we've got loads in schedule, so don't worry. But we're going to probably reduce the batch lengths, the size we brew of those beers, because they're just not selling as well as they used to, because the price point's gone up. And the price point hasn't gone up because we've done much with it. It's the fact that the duty, the tax on it has gone up so much that it impacts the end price of the beer. And then, when we do a keg of it or a cask of it, it doesn't sell as well again, because the landlord can buy something much more accessible, which he knows he'll sell quickly. So we've got the beer we're about to try in 30-litre kegs. It's hundreds of pounds for the landlord to buy. I'm not going to tell you how many hundreds, but a lot of hundreds. So they'll pretty much only go to our own venues. And then someone told me that a really great customer of ours has bought one, which is good news and bad news. It's great news that they've bought the beer. It's bad news because I know that beer won't sell very quickly in his bar. So now the Brew York line is tied up with that beer for probably 4 weeks. Whereas if he hadn't have bought that beer, he'd have maybe bought Coney and he'd brought 6 or 7 kegs of Coney in that same period. What's better for us as a business? The fact you get to try our really great Imperial Stout, but it's on forever, or the fact that you're trying the super fresh beer that you're buying multiple pints of. It's a really hard balance to get to. So, sorry, I got distracted by Pete on messages. I forget that you guys can't see the stuff we're putting on the screen. So when we put their questions up, last time we did one, we had the TV in the audience, so you could see what we were probably giggling at a little bit. So, any more questions for John in particular and Liam while I highlight some of these previous questions? It's Joanna, obviously.
Joanna. Oh.
When you're opening a new beer, a new bar,
Yep.
Will you put casks on straight away?
Yes.
Because obviously you have to turn them over fairly quickly.
Yep. Our full signature range of casks will be on in all sites.
Got to repeat the question for the people at home.
Oh, sorry.
Will
we be putting all of the signature casks on the new site? Yeah, all of them will have from day one. The 3 pubs are established cask pubs already. They all have 6 to 8 casks on at any one time, but they'll be our casks going forward rather than multiple, what I class as mainstream, is on there at the moment. So we'll be able to put our full signature range in all of the sites. Yeah.
When you go into a new pub and you look at what they already sell,
Yeah.
do you look at how you're going to match to start and bring the customers that you've already got as your sort of group of people who spend their money every week? They will keep spending money and then change the beers, or are you going to just go in there and just bang it straight out?
Well, from day one it'll be 100% us, but our range is so vast that we'll be giving the members of staff the tasting notes and what our beers are about. So if someone comes in and says, "Oh, I only ever used to drink this," they say, "Well, yeah, that's fine, because we have this which is very similar sort of tasting, similar sort of hops." So we should be able to, anybody that comes in will be able to find a cask beer, keg beer that they've always drank in our range.
Yeah, it's one of those challenges we've got. Is in our ideal world, the people like you guys in the audience, people joining back home, we've managed to either convince to drink our beer because you always love beer, or convince you to drink beer full stop because of, for whatever reason, we've managed to find something you've liked. It'd be naive of us to assume that we're going to be able to do that with all of the existing the venues we've just purchased and assume everyone's going to be happy from day one. People won't be happy. They like a pint of what's on there at the moment. Inches cider, for example.
Yeah,
or, I can't think of the Brewdog Stout. What's it called? Black Heart. That's it. That's the one. And so what we've done is we've looked at the lineup. Thankfully for us, Market Town Taverns have a standard lineup across all their venues. So we've looked at the different beers and said, well, they've got 3 lagers at the moment. We have 2 lagers. They aren't going to be like comparisons. These are mainstream lagers people have heard of. These are our versions of mainstream lagers. And that's going to be a difficult but also easy-ish challenge, because that's the lager. We've proved that in the other venues we do, Popcorton in particular, we only do our lager. If you don't like our lager, you're probably better off going to another venue. because we're not going to buy in a mainstream lager to tick a box. We're going to sell what we make because it's our venue, and we think that what we make is as good as the mainstream stuff. But with stuff like Black Heart, which is Brewdog's Nitro Stout, I know that they were competing with Anspach for that line, the tender. Because Jack from Anspach messaged me as soon as we got the bars and said, "Can I supply you your Nitro Stout?" I was like, "Thanks, but no thanks, mate. We have our own." Their Nitro Stout's great, and we think ours is great. And we want more people to realise ours is great, so we want to put it on in all our venues. So that'll be going on. So Blackbest will be pouring in those lines. So it was a relatively easy thing for us to do to choose what beers we'd go for, because there was such a craft but mainstream lineup in those venues that we're going to replace it for our signature range, but also some really cool stuff as well. So our signature range is cool, but we've also got some of the interesting specials. So I think personally, I think the lineup's going to be appeal to a lot of the existing drinkers. We won't be able to win everyone over. There will be people that only drink Landlord or whatever their cast lineup was. I mean, we'll never be able to convince them otherwise. What we can do is have a great alternative choice for them and some great other beers, and make sure that the atmosphere and the environment there is brilliant, so they want to go and drink there even if they're not happy with their beer lineup. And then we'll convince them they'll be happy with the beer lineup longer term. So yeah, that's one of the things that we're pleased with, and that's why the deal with them Market Town Taverns was so good for us, because they used to be every venue was standalone. They could buy their own beer, they could do their own thing, and that's one of the reasons why Brigantes was really successful, because they had a great beer choice, because they appealed to a lot of craft beer drinkers as well as mainstream drinkers. They then standardised their lineup over the last 18 months, which unfortunately for them made them less appealing to some of the drinkers, because all of a sudden they could only get the same beers in every one of their venues. Where we'll come into those venues and hopefully convince people we've got a great beer as well as changing beer that they're going to love now. And they've got the infrastructure there, the venues themselves, the decor, the furniture, the rooms, everything was brilliant. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for us. Anyone else? Sorry, I do talk a lot in these. You guys are more than welcome to talk.
There's a lot of talk on the chat tonight.
Mainly you, Joanna.
About possibly opening a bar in Newcastle and even directing the Brew York in Edinburgh. So would that be something you'd be looking to do nationally eventually? And obviously I'd have a vested interest in Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, both cities that have been mentioned a lot on the chat, so Newcastle and Edinburgh. So if we did open a bar in Newcastle and Edinburgh, I'd expect the guys who've mentioned it to be in every single day to justify the entry to the market. But yeah, the cities I love, Lee loves as well. Lee's from Newcastle, his family are. Edinburgh is basically mine and Sal's in the audience tonight for once. And we go there at least once a year. We love the place. I'd love to have a venue there, but it's not that simple.
Everybody wants a place.
Everyone wants a place there, and
so there's a premium on top of a premium on top of a premium.
And I also think people will support local a lot more in a different country technically. So I'd love to have a bar in Scotland, but we're not going to rush into that. We've made sure that if we did have a bar in Scotland, we'd have the support we'd need to make that successful. Newcastle, watch the space. It's not my spoiler, by the way, for next month. But yeah, we'd love one in Newcastle. John's almost in Newcastle. He's a smoggy like
I'm a Teessider. Yeah, I'm a Teessider.
So he knows all the right people up there. So I'm sure he'll help us get a venue. Just if anyone knows any places, then they need to message John. So Daniel Sawyer said, "I'd love to see a bar on the south coast, but I'd have to far more excuses to make the trip, far less excuses to then make the trip up to Brew York." So we went to Newquay last year on holiday. It was amazing, and it was quite refreshing to see how little craft beer there was. I said refreshing. It was different to see how little craft beer there was. So when you did see it, the venues were amazing. So it was also quite nice to drink a lager in the sun wherever you go to.
You can get one in Bristol. I know a couple of places.
Yes, Joanna.
Just like to ask on behalf of Chris Gibbs that the dipper is not available via the shop. When will it be available?
So you
not a
question about the
birthday.
dipper not being available by the shop. That's because you're being spoiled at the moment because the beer hasn't released yet. So it launches at our birthday. Have I mentioned our birthday yet?
When's that?
Our birthday was actually the 9th of April. So we are officially 8 years old now. But we, because of Lee's meeting tonight, we moved the birthday party celebration last year because of the price of hotels because of Easter. And then when we looked this year, the price of hotels was again ridiculously high around our birthday. So we kept it at the same weekend. So the reason the birthday is next weekend is because hotel prices in York are much better. Thanks LNER for putting a train strike on. But yeah, we'll see how much that affects us next weekend. Hopefully not much because everyone's staying and enjoying their time in York. But yeah, the birthday beers launch at our birthday party and then go to the general trade on the Monday afterwards. So anyone who's a subscriber, so you've got a chance to try these beers in advance. That's why you guys got them. The alternative beers it's a bit late to tell you them now because we've already started tasting. But there's a couple more in the subs box. If you aren't a gold member, you wouldn't have got all of the beer lineup. So for the next beer, we've got cherry cola instead of the participate, and then for the last beer, mini kegs instead of the collaborate.
Being posted on the Brew York vehicle.
Oh, did he put that on there?
Somebody's put full box on.
Oh, right. Spoiler alert. So we're actually. I thought we'd be ahead of schedule this month, but turns out we're not. All the technology issues have kept us on track. But yeah, a couple of questions I flagged up, which first one was from Daniel Sawyer. There's supposedly a double red Danson, according to Andy from Elusive. I don't know if you know, but Lee went down to Reading, he didn't go to Reading because he went to Wokingham.
Yeah, it's just outside Reading.
Yeah, so he went to brew with Andy from Elusive. I was going to go down, but I'd double booked. We brewed the beer Red Danson with them 18 months ago, I think, something like that. Which was a collab with the Beer O'Clock Show, Opinions podcast. It was a great beer. It was a red IPA, and it was a standard strength red IPA because we knew commercially we might be able to sell that. So we bumped into the team, the Elusive team, as well as the Opinions podcast at Peak Ender last year. And we were saying, it'd be amazing to do like another brew, like a double IPA version of it. And bear in mind, everyone had been drinking Jaipur for a few hours at this point. I was like, yeah, it would be amazing as long as Andy's brewing it. And Andy signed up to that. He said, yeah, I'll brew that. So we decided that the double IPA would be brewed at Elusive, so that although we're going to buy some to put in you guys as your subs box and all the rest of it, we wanted to make sure that Andy had the pressure to sell the rest of the batch because we know how challenging it is for a hoppy coloured beer.
But wasn't that like 6 or 7% anyway? So what's the double version?
It wasn't quite double ABV. But if you come to the birthday, he's pouring it for the first pour there. My idea for the name was Super Ted.
Oh, was that
as
Super
Ted
Ted?
Danson. But I think we went with Super Red. They didn't get any. They're not quite as used to the cease and desist as we are.
I was wondering what that was. So that's the double red Danson. Yeah. Nice.
So we got another one from Pete. I'm favourite it instead of showing it. I'll never find that again. So anyway, while we're looking for that, we'll start pouring the next beer, which is hiding under here. So the next beer, I don't even need Ant to go on this time. I can show you it all on screen. He says, there we go. Participate. So one of the things we haven't mentioned so far is the branding on the birthday beers. I hope you guys like it. It was a challenge, to say the least, to try and capture all the different aspects of what we were trying to do with the birthday beers this year. And version 1 wasn't quite ticking the box, so we put an extra request out to Owen at United by Design, and he really nailed it with the second version. We basically gave him a little bit more details about how we wanted to illustrate the fact that Appreciate was a team effort. It was went to the team, we asked them what type of beer they wanted to brew. it was a thank you for all the hard work they do, and those little subtle nods in there, because we had a jalapeno IPA, which we knew was coming, because Glenn, who's probably down playing pool at the Handley Tap, is obsessed. He's our packaging manager. He's obsessed with us brewing a jalapeno IPA. And we keep saying it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So that was the first idea he came up with for this beer, and we said no. And we went into all the different options. But if you look on the can, you might see a couple of cheeky jalapenos on the desk as a nod to Glenn's suggestion. And the team, I didn't realise the team were doing this, but the team have siphoned off 100 litres of one of our IPAs. It's not the double IPA, and they bought a chili infusion today. Or they bought some chilies today, made an infusion. They're infusing the beer with chili at the moment. So for the bit, we're going to keg, I think, 2 or 3 kegs of this. So it's going to pour at the birthday next week as an exclusive jalapeno IPA, or Jipper, JIPA, as we like to call it. A little exclusive Jipper pouring next weekend. We haven't got it officially in the lineup. So once one of the first specials we've got kicks, we'll put a couple of kegs of that on and see what you guys think of it. I genuinely am quite excited to try it. I like hot beers. I think they're great. So.
I'm all over that. I love hot sauce, Carolina Reaper. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring on the jalapenos.
And then make it signature, yeah?
Yeah. Make sure it's popular enough. And you brew it.
You're shaking your head.
So next beer, we said participate. So participate was the one that you guys chose. So we decided we wanted to brew a sour this year. One of the things we found over the last probably 2 years in particular is that when we bring back an existing beer, it genuinely doesn't sell as well as we hope it would. We put a new beer out and it sells really well. So we try to do a bit of both where we can. We try not to bring too many beers back unless you guys really scream and shout about it. We try to be innovative and come up with new ideas where we can. So my first challenge was when we talked about the birthday beers, I said, let's bring back one of our existing sours and put it to the public and let them choose. And the team just said, well, let's just let the public choose a new sour. So if you guys remember the choices, I don't. But you settled on the pineapple and raspberry. So that's what we got, a pineapple and raspberry sour. No lactose this time, so we haven't tried to balance out the sourness with a bit of sweetness. It is purely a base kettle sour. Everyone on the chats are doing the cheesy dad jokes with the 8s in it. So like the great idea, which is what we all did when we started talking about it. So
I really like that because I must say that all the lactose and stuff I'm getting, I really like a sour that's got no lactose in. I'm really liking a sour that's really sour.
No lactose and sours ever again, please.
I mean,
that's
like a Belgian sour, like the proper people who make it. That's cool.
That's really nice.
So you guys in the audience can't see, but Andy from Elusive is on the live chat as well. So he's accepted the challenge to sell all that beer. He said Super Red's tasting great in tank. They're packing it on Monday.
Awesome.
So it's going to be super fresh on Friday. So it's going to be great bringing Andy and the team up to York, and you guys will be able to ask him more about the challenges of selling a double IPA. Well, to be fair, Andy's done. He's going to have to remind me the name, but Oregon Trail is one of our favourite beers. He did Sunset Trail, which was the red IPA version, and I'm pretty sure he did a double version recently. Yeah, which he's going to probably.
He's bringing that up, I think.
But amazing beers, and when we were at London Craft Beer Festival last year, went and hung around at his bar and drank all his double red IPAs, and I was super jealous about the fact that we can't sell enough of them to brew more of it. What we need is you guys to convince us to brew more of them, and then we'll brew them on the smaller kit, and then just serve them all in these guys' new venues. So a keg in each venue, because they're going to have that many venues. That'll be enough.
You get little serving tanks in there, lovely.
Exactly. So that's really nice, actually.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. It's more the fact that I hadn't tried it yet.
It's nice because I think that you can drink a lot more of that because of the lack of lactose in it.
The lack of toes.
Lack of
yeah.
toes.
Yeah.
It doesn't get cloying on the taste buds.
So one of the things that I would personally like with a few of our sours over the next 6 months maybe is to dial up the acidity. Let's get it really sour, and we're taking something that's commercially successful by having lactose in, which makes it a little bit more accessible to people. Take out the lactose, dial up the sourness, and see if we can still sell it.
Yeah.
Because sour beers are a harder sell than a sweet sour beer, like sweet and sour.
One of the nicest sours I remember having was a Duggar's one, which was a blackcurrant one. So it tasted like Ribena, but I had to fight it. It was like literally, it was like, oh, my cheeks were coming in. It was beautiful. I loved it. I like a challenge, so let's go with that.
And it's just proof of the point that everyone's taste palates are different. So Tom's just put a great counter to us on saying this beer's not for him because he prefers his sours less sour with the smoothness of the lactose, which I completely appreciate. Sour beers aren't for everybody, and a lot of our sour beers are super accessible because of the lactose. So when we take it out, it becomes sour. Whereas I'm like waiting for like the you know when you have the Tang Fastics, they're not that sour, but that type of I want super sour. But yeah, as the commercial accountant, I'm probably thinking keep the lactose in.
Is the sour market, is it sort of steady at the moment, or is it going up or down?
Is the sour market steady or going up or down? Well, if you're the name's Vault City, the sour market's booming. If you're any other brewery, it's okay. So we do okay with our sours. We used to do a lot better with our sours post collab, but bars don't buy as many of them as they used to. Well, you guys tell us a bit more. Sorry.
You never make any, so we're supposed to buy any.
Cherry cola.
Cherry cola is good.
Yeah.
Not a sour though. But yeah, that's a great bit. No sours on the bars. It's a difficult one. Like one of our old signature beers is you'll remember it well, Goose Willis. Love it. It's one of my favourite beers we've ever done. And then what will happen is eventually sales will drop off and it'll get put on hiatus for a while. People like you will come in kicking off saying, "Where's Goose Willis gone? There's no sours pouring." So okay, fine, we'll make some. We make it. It gets canned. It gets put in can. It gets released. No one buys it.
So, well, do they buy like just a third or something? I'll have a third and then go on and have 2 or 3 pints of something else. It's like, well, we made all of this for you. We can't sell it because you're just buying a little bit just to get that sour hit, but then go back onto the conies and stuff like that.
What we should probably do is do more sour beer in the original brew house. So our production brewery has 2 kettles. So we have two mash tuns, 2 kettles. Mash tuns where you get the sugar out of the malt. The kettles where you boil it and you basically intensify the sugar in there, and then add either hops or for bitterness. But when it comes to sour beer, it's where we basically add the lactobacillus or the souring culture. We're fortunate enough that we can just use one, seal it off, and continue brewing as normal on the other kettle. Whereas at our original brew house in the city centre, if we run a sour beer, it took up production for 2 days at a time. It doesn't really matter anymore because we don't brew there every single day. So maybe we should start using it more as an experimental sour brewery. Because the other thing with sour beers is if we transport the beer from the Warmgate site to our Handley production site for canning, if that beer spoils in packaging, well, it's not going to spoil because it's sour. So it's not like oxygen pickup's going to cause a big problem with that beer, whereas pale beer, even dark beer, if we get oxygen pickup, will spoil that beer. So we should probably look at that a bit more. If there was enough demand for sours, I mean, we might have to go stupid, like, not stupid, so that's the wrong word. We have to go crazy and intense like Vault City. I love Vault City's beer, so when I say stupid, I don't mean in a bad way, in a derogatory way. I mean, like, makes you think, bloody hell, how can you make that work commercially? Because they put so much fruit and other stuff in there.
Do it in the pilot kit.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing from a bar perspective is whenever I visit the sites, one of the first things the staff ask me is, "Can we have more sours, please?" So,
Really?
It's popular in the team.
Just going to say, I'm enjoying the beer. The trouble with the sour now is that I always compare it with Kirsch Russell.
Yeah.
Which is my favourite beer.
And it seems to be everybody's.
And I get a lot of feedback to say they like it as well. You mentioned just a minute ago core beers. Why is not Kirsch Russell a signature beer?
Yeah, good shout. Well, at Kirsch Russell, one of the things we've had to do with signature beer is refine the production and make sure that they're commercially viable. And but basically, we have to make sure that we understand the process inside out, and we aren't excessive with certain things. So sometimes when we come up with an idea like Kirsch Russell, we will go way over the top on the cherry additions. We'll go way over the top on vanilla, on anything we can. And we put a beer out there. What we should probably then do is take that beer, throw it in our pilot kit, and dial it in a bit, and then make it a bit more commercially viable, and see if you can tell the difference. Then say, okay, well let's launch that as a more regular appearing beer, because we go so daft sometimes with the specials, because we're not necessarily worrying about profitability or anything like that. We're worried about making something really, really cool that people would love to try. So it's a different mindset sometimes, and yeah, we did that with Goose Willis. We weren't even thinking about the budget for that beer. We just brewed the beer that we really loved, and then when we realised everyone else really loved it, thankfully, gooseberry isn't that sexy as a fruit, so it's not that expensive. Cherry is. Cherry's really, really expensive. So we've got to find the right balance, find the right thing. But yeah, there's ways to make it work, and I'd love to do more sours, and if the feedback from the bar team is we need more sours, then yeah, we'll do that. What we should probably do is validate that feedback and see what our sour sales are in proportion to the other stuff.
I'm not correlating this with the sales.
So should we move on to the last beer? Shall we?
That's just what.
That was a
Can
rapid.
do.
I just want to see if I can get through the whole thing without going to the toilet.
Do you think it's harder to sell the niche beers like the sours in Yorkshire than it is in other areas of the country?
It's probably across the board, really.
Yeah, I don't think anymore it's a geographical. But sorry, the question was, do we think it's harder to sell the niche beers in Yorkshire than it is the rest of the country? And I don't think it's a geographical thing. I think the difference is the number of craft venues, what are called craft venues versus traditional venues. And then free of tie venues versus tied venues. So do the landlords have the ability to buy the beer they want to buy, and if they do have that ability to buy it, are their customer base the type of people who would drink these things? And York's amazing because even though it's a small city, there are hundreds and hundreds of pubs, and most of those pubs are free of tie, and most of the tourists and the visitors and even the locals love variety. So we don't struggle to sell special beer in York, but if you go to a village, Pocklington, great example. Do you think how many sour beers do you think sold in Pocklington before we went there? So I don't think sour beer was necessarily as popular. I'm not saying that we've changed people's opinion. People's opinion changed after lockdown anyway, from tasting lots of different things. And if we weren't in the market tap, I'm sure that another brewery might have done something as well and started selling other beers where people could try it. But people's opinions have changed, and the access to those beers have changed. But you put a sour beer in a country pub where there's only one pub, you're going to probably upset quite a few of the locals if they've only got 2 or 3 keg lines and you're taking one of them to sour. I mean, one of them probably tastes sour all the time anyway. It sells, but that's a different matter. I don't know. I haven't noticed a geographical tie to these styles, but it's more the number of venues that can buy the beer and who have the customer base who want to buy the beer.
Is it sour more of a seasonal thing?
Good question.
Personally, sour's not my taste, but I would probably drink it in hot or warm weather. And do you find that in the cities? Is it more of a seasonal beer? So
it's a good question. Do the sours sell better in certain seasons? And does that make it more appealing? 100%. People don't buy many sour beers in winter. Certain people drink a lot of them in winter, but summer just tastes a sour beer is refreshing in some ways. So when the weather's nice and you can go outside in a beer garden, you'll probably drink more of a sour than you would in other seasons. We've got cherry cola out at the moment, and one of the first things, Easter weekend, we went to the in-laws' house and we had a few underfilled cans of that. Sorry, no, we didn't. We had bought a few cans of that to sample with the in-laws, and it was really good. We really loved it, but we were saying that this would be amazing in a beer garden in summer. It just feel really, really refreshing. So yeah, there's definitely that aspect.
I'm guessing the bars would probably see a big change. Stouts in winter, sours in summer, probably pales across the board. Really, probably goes up in summer because
Across
everyone's.
the board. Although this year's quite unique because it feels like the first year in about 4 we've not brewed Imperials all summer long. So
You just wait.
but yeah, low strength sours in the sunshine. There's nothing better. Simon Le Bon, for example, springs to mind. The last 2 or 3 years. It's always been limited availability. We always get lucky with when it arrives. It's warm weather and it's not fun, unfortunately.
So Alan Humphreys had a comment about the dogs barking pierced his eardrums.
Yeah, I
the
know.
microphones are obviously picking up some higher pitch frequencies that we can't. Well, I
Oh,
can hear
no.
the dog barking.
Oh,
And then a really relevant comment there from Ian Hay. Niche beers may not sell that well, but they do attract attention and make you stand out. About the big stouts and sours, core Brew York Brew York Identity's gone, in his opinion, which is great, which is fully true. So if we launch, and Empress Don Coco is a great example. So when we launch Empress Don Coco in one of our more remote venues, people might not necessarily, they'll probably go out to try the new version of Empress Don Coco. But while they're there, they're not going to drink Empress all night. They're going to drink pints of signature beers, and then they're going to try that. And then, some people might drink pints of Empress, but most people will drink pints of the signature beer and then top it up or complement it with that. The same with beer festivals. The fact that I hope the fact that we've done relatively well in beer festivals and attracting you guys to try our beers is the fact that we have something for everybody. Variety is great because if you do a lot of different beers, you attract a lot of different people, and you can then hopefully convince them to try the other beers that they might not have tried previously, or styles they might have tried previously. Just a quick poll in the audience: how many people never used to drink sour beer before you drank brew your beers? So it's and then now, you might not enjoy them as much as the others, but you still try them and enjoy them.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry about the extra high pitch. Yes. Sorry about the barking madness. It's
Trembling man.
We need to release the dog's beer, apparently. We do for that dog down there, and get him drunk so he stops screaming.
Who let the dogs out?
So we're going to the last beer then.
Let's do that.
It's,
Yes.
We're 12 minutes early, but I think it's
Why
the
not?
right time.
It's big beer time.
So
He's off now.
everyone else has gone for the win. So
John.
everyone else has gone. So by the way, the last beer is Collaborate. I think they're all just going to the toilet and running off their microphones.
You go to the loo.
So this is probably one of the most complicated beers we've brewed in a long, long time. Because Lee decided it would be a really good idea to get all the 8 breweries who are appearing at our birthday to input into the design and development of this beer. So something we've talked about a few times on these streams is collaborations, and how a good collaboration is important to actually get input from the other breweries, to get buy-in, to get people to really not just put their name to it, to actually try. There you go, I've overlaid it. Try, and let's get something that we can all use from the beer, not just a brewery's name. So I keep saying 8 breweries because I keep forgetting to include Brew York. Yeah. We're one of them, sorry.
I'm going to ask that question.
So I won't be able to answer that many questions on the beer because Lee was the ringmaster for this one. But basically, lots of different stages of the beer The normal stage of the brewing process, like the mashing in, getting all different malts together, the hop additions, the yeast, all these different things, and the adjuncts, the different flavors we wanted to put in afterwards. He sought input from the different breweries. So I think Andy's probably still on. He probably knows more about it than I do. But yeah, Lee went to all the different brewing parties, and some of the things that, I picked up on it was looking at the malt bills, the different malts we use in the base of the beer that give you the body and also the sugar to make the alcohol. I noticed there's a couple of things in there that I picked up on. That we use Rauch malt, which is a German smoked malt. So our first ever beer, Viking DNA, one of the key aspects of that beer is we use Rauch malt in it. So that's where the smokiness comes from. So this is part of the barbecue, the Texan theme. But yeah, the Rauch malt is something we love. But as soon as you put smoke on the description of the beer, it completely puts people off. So when Lee said, I've got this really great concept, we've put smoke in it, we've put barbecue, we've done all these things, how do we sell this beer? But I've not tried it. I'm gonna try it in a second, and I'll let you know.
That's really pleasant.
You can be in sales. That's all right.
That's all right. I think in my mind's eye, I despise barbecue sauce, so that's kind of where I was going with it.
I was thinking it was going to be more barbecue sauce. But
that's really nice.
Yeah.
I think what we've done it injustice a little bit on the description. I don't know where the can is. We put something really like smoky, sticky kind of barbecue. Don't put barbecue sauce on. Yeah. The barbecue sauce bit is the bit that kind of puts me off the touch.
Barbecue sauce,
but it tastes great. It doesn't taste of barbecue sauce, frankly.
No, it's got a nice sort of like a prickly heat in the back, sort of in the throat a little bit.
So and then some of the other elements. Sorry, so we got the Rauch malt. Special B. So Special B is a malt that does all sorts of things, but it gives you a biscuitiness taste to beers. And Special B isn't something that breweries typically use. So whenever I see it, I know that either Lee or somebody else has input into it because it's a cracking malt, but it's not used very regularly. So chocolate malt is used regularly, so we use chocolate malt in this. But sometimes people see chocolate and they assume that we've used some sort of chocolate in there. It's a malt that gives you a chocolatey-like taste. It's not that intensely chocolate. Candy sugar. We've used candy sugar in this, Belgian candy sugar, which is basically a sugar that helps boost the ABV and then gives you a certain taste of the beer afterwards. And then you would not be surprised to learn, especially in the aftertaste, if you've had a sip of this now. We've used Tonka in this beer. So if you're familiar with Tonka, you always get that same aftertaste. So we get it a lot in some of our big beers.
Did you just say if you're familiar with Tonka
on the Brew York
thing? Yeah.
Well, the other thing is one of the collaborating breweries is Lakes Brew Co. So Matt, who formerly worked at Hawkshead and then unceremoniously got made redundant at the start of COVID, and then started Lakes, who are doing amazing, by the way, which you guys will see this weekend. Great brewery, great guy, great team, and Tonka's another passion of his. He inspired us to do Tom Coco. He's one of our good friends now, which is great because we get to brew lots of Tonka beers with him. And I assume that Matt was the Tonka inspiration on this beer. Habanero, so there's a bit of habanero and chipotle chili in there, so a little bit of. It's nowhere near like mine's gone blank.
Ghost Dimension.
No, Ghost Dimension was one, but the thick sauce collab is called
Champorado.
But the Champorado has a big burn on the aftertaste. This one has a very, very subtle. But that, I guess the point, so the comment there was that there's so many different flavours coming through, but that was the point of this beer. We've got 9 breweries inputting into something. What do we do? Do we just do a 9-hopped IPA and you won't get that much? We've got lots of characters and aspects from every different brewery to try and make something, and it's so complicated. We couldn't make a really textbook appealing beer. We've made something that's kind of captured everything, and it tastes great still. And hopefully everyone's going to appreciate it as much as we appreciate what's gone into it.
I like the fact that it's actually got no lactose in.
And again, the no lactose elements.
It's just nice to have an export style. It's got a bit of thickness to it because of all of the flavours that are involved in that beer. So people will go, it's a bit thin. it doesn't have lactose in it, so just deal with it.
So yeah, the Belgian candy sugar is in there to give the ABV boost, but also not all of it will fully ferment. The candy sugar probably does, but not all the sugar in the beer will fully ferment. So you still get a bit of sweetness at the end, but the habanero and stuff just balances that sweetness up a little. And then we've done a little bit. We've used wood essence.
Wood essence.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it actually is a wood.
Squeezed wood.
The essence of wood. It doesn't sound very nice, but yeah.
Yeah, no, well, it's a bit like...
Yeah, we won't go into that. When Liam's coming back, we'll talk about his wood essence.
I used it, it's probably something that I used to use when I do a lot of barbecue, so it'd be something like liquid smoke or something. Yeah. I actually use hickory wood shavings and stuff like that, but it's a liquid you can use. Joe!
It smells very different to what it tastes. I don't know if anyone else is using that, but yeah, you smell the beer. It's got the smoky taste, but it smells a bit sweet, like we've put lactose in it. It's not.
So often in the office, we try these as soon as they can.
Yes.
Because obviously we're selling them, but this tastes very different. Why is that?
So from the floor, we've had Joanna saying, why does it taste different? Basically, Joe works in our sales and she likes a tipple every now and again. And she basically went in and helped herself to this 11% beer. I'm not saying anything, but HR, if you're watching, anyway, but she tried it when it came out of the can so she could basically explain to the customers what it tasted like. And we're trying it now, probably, a week, mate, if so, after it's been canned, and she's asked, why does it taste different? Now, much better. What I've found, and I'm sure the rest of the team will say, but I'm jumping in on this because I'm talking, is the fact that big stouts, I always find, as soon as you can them, bottle them, whatever you want to do with them, they taste great, drink them. But then if you leave them, what happens is a lot of the compounds in the actual stout start breaking down and moulding around, and basically what they do is they mellow out. So imagine like a big red wine or something. They sort of relax, they mellow out, and what happens is basically you start drinking it and it's quite sharp, quite acrid. You'll think, I'm not too sure about that, it's a little bit bitter. You leave it for a week, two, they start to mellow, they round out, it tastes a bit sweeter, a bit smoother, a bit more, this is it. And then you leave it for more. This is why barrel aged stuff, it's not necessarily the barrel doing all of that, it's the fact you've left it for a year. And basically all of the stuff that's inside that, it rounds off. I made a homebrew beer, and I left it for a year, and I came back and it was like, oh my God, that's incredible. But it was because I left it for a year. It was an 11% stout. And at the first time I brewed it...
forgot it was there, because there's no way you'd leave it.
Yeah, all right. But the first time I tried it, it was nice, but it was too bitter. It was really coffee, right over the top, very bitter, harsh. Didn't want to drink it. Left it, forgot about it in the bottom of the thing. Came back a year later. I'll give it a go, see what it's like. Wow. Why didn't I just leave it to start with? Basically, all of the things that are in there, all of the molecules and stuff, they all just chill out. They go for a sleep, have a bit of a sit down and go, yeah, all right. What we'll do is it's mellow, it's a lot easier to drink, rounder. You find it's a bit sweeter, and that's basically, you've had it after a week. Imagine what it'll be after 2, 3. Put it down and leave it for a year. It'll be phenomenal. It'll be really creamy. All of those molecules, all the different esters in there and everything will start breaking down, and they'll taste phenomenal.
If you go down the taproom beer hall, I think it is at the moment, we might have a couple of kegs of New Beginning, which is the collaboration we did with Allinson a couple of years ago. We might have found those kegs at the back of the console we've completely forgotten about. And I got the guys to hook it up because it was an Imperial, so the ABV would have kept the beer fresh. We hooked it up and it was tasting amazing. The smoothness, it mellowed out. It was a blueberry stout. It was tasting amazing. I was like, yeah, serve that. Because normally, if you find a beer in the back of coleslaw, you're like, oh, that's going in the drain. Go down the drain. That's been in. But
we tried that one, didn't we? We were trying it all, and it was no, that's going in the drain, and then it came back up again, and it was better than everything else that we'd ever tried.
I tried it. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really good. So, yeah, spoiler alert. If you get to York next weekend, we might have some of it left, but
I think we do.
well, you can. So I missed one of the questions earlier. I can't remember who said it. I didn't put it on screen. It's about have we barrel aged any of this? Yes, we have.
Have we?
We have. So yeah, it's going to taste amazing in barrel. So there was a couple of other ones. Sorry,
the barrel that's been aged in, or
I don't know if they've actually put it into the barrel yet, but it will be.
Well, this is it's one of these. It's so fresh that we probably haven't moved it into a barrel yet.
So there was another good question that I've had more to drink and I've missed it. So any other questions from the audience?
If you barrel age something like that, then when you take it out of the barrel, is it purely what goes into the cap?
Do we if we barrel age a beer, or this beer in particular, when it's ready to package, do we just package it straight from barrel, or do we freshen it up? So it's a good question. It will genuinely depend. We'll do taste tests on it. In the past, we've barrel aged our beers probably a little bit too long. So being a bit naive, we were thinking, well, 6-month barrel age, 12-month barrel age, 18-month barrel age, which would you prefer? 18-month barrel age. Well, it doesn't mean it's going to be the best beer because it's been in the barrel 18 months. It reaches a peak and then it starts deteriorating. It doesn't get better. So what we've started doing now is when we're doing the taste test and the beer reaches its peak, we package it. And we're not necessarily going to release that package to everybody and let them know the beer's out, but we're going to lock it in because we might have other barrel aged beers we want to launch. But we're still going to tell you it's 6-month barrel aged because that's all it's spent in it. We're not going to pretend because we launched it 12 months later or whatever. But you've got to lock it in when it's fresh. And if you don't, sometimes we'll need to freshen it up. And when we say freshen it up, one of the things we have to do is make sure it's still within the legal limit. So if we barrel age an 11% beer and it picks up ABV, so it picks up alcohol in that period it's in a barrel because of the residual liquid that was in the barrel, then we need to bring it back down to the ABV it was when we put the beer in, because otherwise we have to pay higher tax because it becomes a spirit instead of being a beer. So that's one of the reasons we freshen up. We brew a fresh batch of beer and we blend it in with that to get it back down to the ABV. The other reason we freshen it up is with a regularly produced beer like Empress Stone Cocoa, it benefits from the fresh Empress Stone Cocoa is just had a coconut infusion, so it tastes super fresh still. When we blend it in with the barrel aged beer, you've got the really good woody notes, and then blended with a fresher coconutty hit of the newer beer. And when we say blend, we're not talking about like a 50-50 blend. We're talking about maybe a 10% blend. You put a small amount of the fresh beer in because you don't want to lose what we've spent a lot of time and money building in the barrel aged beer.
Is there also a thing where if you're doing something like we were saying with a new beginning, which had blueberry in it, you stick blueberry, imagine putting blueberry in a cask and leaving it for 18 months, it's going to go a bit iffy. So what happens is you sort of stick in the beer to start with and let it round off, mellow off, and then you add a little bit of the blueberry back in just to give that blueberry hint back in. Because essentially, if you've left blueberry in a beer for 18 months, it's going to disappear or even start to taste off. So you stick your main beer in to start with, and then right at the very end, you put the beer, just the highlights, essentially, like painting, you just stick your highlights back in just to give it that little note of blueberry or vanilla or whatever, just to basically bring it back to what it was 18 months ago, but with all that wood notes of the barrels and stuff like that. So yeah, you tweak it. It's not basically just take it out and throw it in the can. You take it out, you taste it, you sample it, you add a couple of bits here and there, get it up to where you'd be happy with, and then you package and then sell as and when because it's sorted. Chat there.
Just going back to what you said initially, when you take it out and you blend it at 10%. My question is, before you blend it, you taste it. Is there a big difference in the taste? was it really nice, but you have to blend it? You see what I'm trying to say?
Well, yeah, when we first did barrel aged beer, so it's the first ever batch of Empress we did. We got, I think it was Jack Daniels and a few other barrels, which were there was that much residual Jack Daniels left in the cask. We poured it into a 3 litre jug, and I'm sure we had about 1.5 litres of soot smoked, like barrel proof. It's not whiskey, rye whiskey, whatever you call it. But not rye whiskey, sorry. Sour mash, yeah. And it was so intense, it was so strong, but it tasted amazing. But there was obviously a lot of that in the barrel, and we put a 10 and a bit % beer in, and it came out about 12%. It might be 10.5, well, it went to 12% or something ridiculous like that. So we then had to blend it back to get it down, but the original unblended batch tasted amazing. If we could have sold it, we would have. So we just put a lot of it into staff 3 litre jugs. We were like pouring it, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll try. So it was really, really good.
Could enhance that taste rather than.
Yes, so blending it back sometimes helps the beer because it gives it the fresher taste. Sometimes, unfortunately, it will deteriorate what amazing what we had. But unfortunately, we're not a registered distiller, so we can't gain alcohol from barrel aging process. We just need to find some of our sample tests.
Did you have a question?
When you take a beer and you change the beer from being a normal beer to a barrel aged beer, and you know that it might be 6 months or 12 months, are you working on an algorithm or just literally taste what comes out?
When we first started, because we didn't know, we didn't have. Sorry, the question was when we barrel age a beer, do we work on an algorithm? How do we know how long to barrel age it for? When we first started, we didn't. We just looked at what other breweries were doing or what they printed on their labels, and we based our practice on that. As we developed our barrel aging program, it's now more about taste testing it and locking it in rather than just doing a arbitrary 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever it is. Taste the beer. If it's working well, that's a good time to start. Well, you kind of have to wait for it to deteriorate a little bit because can we taste it amazing? Do we package it now, or do we wait a little bit longer? If it starts dipping a little bit, that's when it's time to package it. So it's a difficult process. There's no exact science. I think we're going to wrap up shortly. Have we got any
more questions?
Last few questions? Have we got any questions specifically for the gentleman on my right who've joined us we thought we'd be inundated with bar questions tonight, but they haven't been as intense as I thought it would be. Besides, are we opening in Newcastle or are we opening in Edinburgh?
We're just sat here.
We're making them look pretty.
Stay, go on. What type of entertainment plans have we got?
We've got
anything and everything, to be honest.
We've got loads of thrash metal.
Folk nights. Top Banana is the comedy club that uses Coopers as lit, and they sell out once a month. They sell their own tickets. They do all of the advertising and everything, and apparently they fill the place out month in, month out. They've had some pretty big names there as well, apparently.
What about tribute bands?
We putting gigs on.
Lee's tribute band, Not Slip.
Not Slip. Yeah.
You have one of them after YouTube.
Don't give him that idea, please.
Well, no, Ben the James got some great ideas for entertainment all of venues. It's good because we've got function rooms and all that stuff.
Well, I had to.
Are function rooms going to be used for social things as well, for the local community?
Yeah.
So where could we possibly film the next YouTube live in a month's time? Yeah. So.
Come on, Joanne.
Lady at the back, please, in the back.
Where's that lady at the back?
Oh, Joe.
Oh, Joanna.
On the points.
Breweries have done like minibuses, have arranged like tours and things. For sort of like your local customers in York, could that be something that could be arranged that we could all buy a ticket and we could do a
bus tour to the new venues? Well, so 100% to support the regular. So the question for the audience was, could we
Just put you on the spot there.
Yeah. So, another question from the audience?
I have a question about collaborations. Is there a set criteria that you look at when you decide you want to collaborate with your brewery?
So the question was, is there a set criteria we look at when we decide if we want to collaborate with another brewery? Yes and no. So the most important factor is, do we have a relationship with that brewery? So if we go to a beer festival and bump into another brewery and really get on with them, amazing. Love to brew a beer with them. If we've got similar, like we like similar things, we like similar styles, we have the same approach to things, then yeah, we'd love to brew beers with them. There's also cold requests where we don't know the brewery, but they reach out and we wonder, how could we make this work for both parties? Those ones are the harder ones to do, because the relationship that we have with the brewery usually means more than the collaboration. So if we have the relationship, it makes everything else easier. We know they'll pick up the phone, we'll talk about the recipe, we'll talk about the ideas. So yeah, the priority always goes to those type of things. And we can only brew so many collaborations a year. But then there's also an aspect of trying to reciprocate what we got when we were starting as a brewery. So when we were growing and we had help from other breweries who collaborated with us, who gave us access to other markets, it's amazing. If we can reciprocate and do the same thing, we do try to. So yeah, that's COVID was a funny thing in lots of ways, not just to do with what I'm about to say, but obviously lots of bad aspects of COVID. One of the downsides of COVID from a brewery collaboration point of view was the virtual collab became the normal. And even now, breweries a lot of the time are like, oh yeah, let's brew a collaboration together. And yeah, you don't need to be here. Like, well, that's not a collaboration then. They're like, we want to be there. It's not just about, I want to go down to your brewery and I want to have a couple of beers with you while we're talking about someone else brewing the beer.
Who's going to dig the mash out if you're not on the collab?
I actually took a mash out the other day when I went to Lakes, and
wow.
They took photos of it. And yeah, Lee and Matt just chatted while I was digging it out. So.
That's the collab though, was it?
That's the collab.
You put the shovel in.
That's what I thought.
It's all a collab.
I thought that was a photo, and I actually had to carry on digging it out. I was like, bloody hell, I thought that was done.
What a waste of time that sounds like.
But no, it's a big part of it. It's it's the relationships we build and what we can help each other with. And there's so much that even the newest or smallest brewery that we work with, we will learn a lot from, like we did when we were in their position. The bigger breweries we work with, we'll learn a lot from. So there's so much we gain from it. Let's use it to what it used to be. Let's not just try and use it as a marketing tool to sell beer, because I don't believe anymore it does sell beer. I think having two breweries' names on a beer doesn't sell it any better than one brewery does. But actually using it to actually learn from each other is better at helping your brewery out than putting a couple of names on a beer. So another question from the audience?
Yes, it's named that foundation.
Yeah.
I think you might look at the range of bespoke Brew York toiletry.
That's one for you, Liam.
I need
to repeat the question.
They're on about bespoke Brew York toiletry for all the hotels.
I've got a separate channel for that one. So when we're finished, I'll give you my handle.
Liam's wood essence.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I need to have a good week's notice on the artwork as well. If you're just suddenly coming up with it. It could happen. Scented candles, at least, in old cans.
It's a good job Lee's not on the stream, because we got a message from Pete saying, "Have you ever done a collaboration?" And in hindsight, thought they were tossers. So I would never say that, but I'm sure Lee probably would at this stage.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Yeah. Genuinely, I don't remember any breweries that we've walked away thinking really didn't like those guys. So that's a great thing because our industry is unique for that. But yeah, Lee probably does remember someone, and he's probably like really annoyed that they called him Les.
He's probably going to be dialing in on.
Who needs Lee?
Exactly. Exactly. There's a question in the back.
A bit of promotion here. So, you guys, tell us a little bit about what's been going on in the beer hall this week.
On brand.
So, for those of you who aren't familiar, we do a blend of Divine coffee, which is available in the web stores. So feel free to buy that. And if you come into the bars, primarily Warmgate, we do a blend, which is a Toncoco variant. We use it for our espresso martinis and in-house coffee. And Divine have generously come in. I say generously, I think we're paying for it. We've just recently set up a service station. So you come in, you order your coffees, and you take it to the bar, the coffee bar, and you pour your own coffee. You help yourself.
So for like £3.50, it's a bottomless cup of coffee, and it's all the Divine different ranges. I think there's 6 or 7 different types of coffee on there. There's the teas.
No.
Whenever the beer hall's open,
when it's open,
all of the socials and the fancy photos will be getting ready. So it's just been getting installed and tried and tested this week, but they'll all go out live. But it is available now, £3.50 for a bottomless cup of coffee.
Is that all coffee? Is that teas, or
all
is it
everything.
All hot drinks?
Yeah. You can, if you want to sit in, you can drink in, but we've also got takeaway cups.
That sounds like great stuff.
So just jumping on one of the comments on screen before we do that. So Adam Davidson said Bayonet Brewing collab would be amazing. If you know any contacts, get in touch. Bayonet Brewing's from Northallerton, my hometown. So I know my dad knows them because he drinks their beer in the town. So reach out to them, tell them to get in touch with us. We'd love to do something with them. It'd be cool.
Lady in the front
really
here, you got a question?
Well, I was just going back to the new venues.
Yeah.
I don't know Geyser very well.
Mm.
I know a little bit about Knaresborough.
Yeah.
But are they easy to get to by public transport?
Yes.
There's the answer.
Just been our bars. All the new bars are easy.
I was going to say, obviously, we live in York.
Yeah. And Knaresborough, it's literally 10
Obviously,
metres away.
Knaresborough, I know, is easy to get
Straight
to.
off the train.
We go there regularly.
Yeah. All of them were within a 5-minute walk from the train station.
Are we going to get any bars on the Real Ale Trail? You know, that famous one.
Rail Trail.
The Rail Trail.
The Rail Trail. Could do.
So, sorry, I realised I completely missed the whole section out. I'm like, let's finish. What's coming in next month's box? So next month's box. We didn't even talk about the bloody birthday, didn't we? Sorry about that. Let's come back to that in a second. It's because I've been needing to pee for the last 2 hours. I'm not thinking about the content. So next box, Mangalorian is coming back.
Mangalorian.
And what else is coming back then? Mangalorian?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So a new Obi-Wan Kenobi, because the last version was an orange version. We're going to bring a new version back without the orange.
What? So it tastes like a cannoli?
It tastes like a cannoli.
Actual cannoli. No orange.
So one of the beers that's exclusive, well, a lot of beers are exclusive for the birthday. The May Day Charity Project, which is a collaboration with McCall's Brewery. They've paired with 6 different breweries throughout the country, and basically all the money, well, I can't remember the amount, but 25p I think per pint. 15p per pint goes to charity. But at our birthday, all the profits from the beer that's sold for those charity beers goes to the charity. So the breweries that have worked on the collaboration have all kindly donated the beer. We're serving the beer and then to you guys, and then the money we raise from that will go to charity. So it's a huge reason to try those beers.
Good beers.
Ours is called the Problem Shared, which is a West Coast IPA. So for us, we're very excited about that.
That's good.
And then Raise Your Lasses, which is our International Women's Day collab. So that launches next week, but it's going to be in your box. They're the main. We've also got a collaboration, another collaboration with Neon Raptor.
Neon Raptor.
So the first one was called Clever Guiles. Any ideas what the name would be? You won't get it.
Dinosaurs. Think dinosaurs. And think, what sort of type is it? Is it a porter?
It's a
with
a
marshmallows.
campfire porter with marshmallow and chocolate. It's kind of a s'more thing. You're never going to get it. It's called Brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus.
I call it
Yeah.
dinosaurs. And,
Dinosaurs.
He's not happy.
That is sick. Right, I'm doing that tomorrow. Dinosaurs. I like that.
So very, very quickly, events coming up. Obviously, 18th to 20th of April, our 8th birthday.
What? When's that?
I just said 18th. It's 19th to 20th.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I do know. 26th to 27th of April. It's the first weekend's trade in our new venue. So, very busy. So Horse and Farrier and Coopers initially, because the MITRE, we need a little bit more time. So May Bank Holiday.
All three.
MITRE! So we only want one extra week, but we'll launch the MITRE the week after that.
So
and
if
also,
you come up for that on the bank holiday weekend, you're open.
Exactly, that's the plan. And then we're also going to launch a few new beers at Kirkstall's great exhibition of prize ales. So we got an invite this year, which we're really pleased with. It's a it's a really cool festival where lots of breweries are brewing traditional modern styles, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then 18th of May, Chester Craft Beer Festival. And that's as far as I got because I filled the page. So I need Waters and Yusuf to tell me more about what events we're doing this year. And then there's one last thing. Someone said, when are the next YouTube sessions? So 10th of May. So 10th of May we'd already said previously. I think 7th of June we'd said previously, and the 12th of July. So 10th of May is going to be at one of the new venues. We haven't decided which venue yet. We need maybe another week to decide which one.
Maybe the one with all the beds and stuff.
The ones with beds. So
yeah, that's a great idea.
We can all just stay in the 4 bedrooms that we've got. Yeah.
We'll have some shower gel by then as well.
Shower gel.
Do you want to have a quick shout out?
It means branded shower gel, not just. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Do you want to talk about, let them know what beers are going to be on in downtown on the birthday weekend?
Oh, shit. So a massive thing, absolutely great point by John. It's a huge fringe event that we haven't told anyone about because we're so great at doing fringe events. Starting with the Thursday. Thursday night is the
18th.
Yeah. I need to tell them what the fringe event is, which is the
fringe event is we've got some garden beers coming over.
No, that's the 19th, 20th.
That's the
19th. The 18th one is the.
You pushed it last night.
You've lost me.
So Stone Brewing, we have a Stone Brewing.
There's too much going on. Yeah, so Stone Brewing are
so Stone are coming to the beer hall tap on the Thursday the 18th.
They're essentially doing a tap takeover. So we're going to be pouring five
beers. That's what I put on social media.
I've been told 5. We've got 6.
Plus, we've got another keg of Ruination.
Yeah, we've got another keg of Ruination, and they're bringing over some cheeky free samples for everyone to try as well.
Free samples?
Yeah.
Callum, you interested?
So, and then the Friday, Saturday, and then until you guys buy it all, essentially, we've got...
Oh, garden.
We've got garden beers imported exclusively for the event from Croatia. So Mario, one of the guys from Garden's coming across, and he's going to hopefully hang around at the tap room in the beer hall at some point because he'll probably be here as well. But yeah, we've got loads of really cool beer from the Garden bringing in, and they'll land in time for the weekend.
How many have you got there?
6 different Garden beers. So once you've had your feed from the festival, head back to the city. There's loads of different things on for it. So what we wanted to do is we know that a lot of you go to the tap room and beer hall and then come here. We want to make it a little bit more interesting and different this year and put a little bit more choice on. So a couple of fringe events going on in the city.
Yeah, one which I forgot about, so sorry about that.
Good work.
Don't forget the quiz night every Thursday at the Poppington.
Quiz night?
So with that said, thanks everyone for joining us. Massively appreciate everyone for dialing home. It's been a big audience tonight. We had 200 people on pretty much most of the stream.
My God.
And there's another 200 in the audience here tonight. So cheers, guys, and look forward to seeing you all next week. And if you can't see you next week, then we'll see you through the window. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Well done. End it with